And we are live.
I want to let everyone know that we were having a conversation about something totally unrelated before we went live, and I kept wanting to call JD, our off-screen, here again, gone again, mod. I was trying to call him Mike, and I don't know why. The funny
Because
thing
I'm
is, I
dope
don't
on
think
the
I
floor and
know
I'm
a
magic
Mike.
on the mic. Come on.
Yeah, magic on the mic. I don't think I even know a Mike. So yeah. I'm gonna save this thing because Nyaru sent me a video. Hi everyone, this is Manuel and this is Ultra Podcast Z. Um, uh, it's funny because we talked about. By the way, I'm babbling because I forgot to get anything ready because I restarted my computer because my microphone was being stupid, and I have to reopen a bunch of windows. But me and Nyaru talked about this a long time ago that the podcast technically should be Ultra Podcast Z, and I think there was even a point when we called it that when we first got the new logo. And then
I made the logo, by the way.
Yeah, Nyaru made the logo. And I think he even made it like really out. I think we just briefly talked about it. And I think I was still going to school because I remember being at school because I had like a night class for something like right before I graduated the last time. And I was at school and I was coming out like when the class is over. I'm like, you did a logo already? It was so random. We are live with Ultra Podcast
Z
talking
it's a Z
about
manual.
Z.
We're not British.
It's funny because I watch Sarah Zed a lot, that YouTuber, and I actually don't like her that much anymore. But I do like her co-writer, I should say, Lady Emily, who did a really good video on AVGN recently. But I actually followed Lady Emily long before that.
Mm-hmm.
But they've really twisted my head about saying Zed, even though I'm 99.9% sure they're both American.
Hey, Manuel, what's the letter that comes after G?
J. Wait, H.
G. Okay, so it's H, not H.
H? Who says H?
The people who say Z.
It's funny because I had to teach some. Oh, this actually ties in perfect. Let me finish by typing because I don't know how to multitask. This fits in nicely with one of my first things I wanted to talk about. Nyaru, are you familiar with a word? And I'm going to spell it. Try to visualize it. Actually, I'm going to type it into the chat. But I'm going to spell it as I do it. It's EPITOME, and that's the word. I just typed it in.
Epitome?
Close. That's actually much better than I was thinking.
Epitome.
So, thank you. It's been my recent pet peeve. And by the way, I don't want to, because I know we just talked about Sarah Zed and Lady Emily. They were not the ones who said it. I can't remember who the fuck it was. It was some wrestling YouTuber. But other big name YouTubers who I've heard use it are like, what's his name? The kid who talks about video games, the kid with the glasses. What's his name? He's really popular now, but I watched him when he was like only at a few thousand. Scott the Woz. He and a ton of other people always say epitome. They say epitome. It's my current pet peeve because I know for a fact that most people have heard the word epitome in their life. You've heard the word epitome, right, Nyaru?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's the epitome of Nyaru's the epitome of shit talking VTubers.
I could see it.
But a lot of people say epitome. And I tweeted, I actually posted about this before, but I tweeted about it. And it came to my attention that a couple friends of mine don't know how to pronounce it. And because I had to have this conversation with them like a couple days ago. I'm like, huh? Because no one who replied to it, by the way, just I want to call them out. Well, some of my friends were like, wait, what are you talking about? And I'm like, epitome. And it's like, that's the way you spell epitome? And yes, apparently people see epitome and don't know how to spell epitome. Why does it say pussy right away?
Because it's Nyaru, Manual.
I don't know what you expected.
Oh my god, everything says epitome that I'm trying to type. Hold on. Oh god, I wrote okay, the post is gonna suck now because I wrote a much longer post about what we're gonna talk about live tonight, and then it got deleted because I put fucking epitome. But yeah. epitome.
Epitome doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
Tomato.
It's
Let's
not,
call the whole thing
though.
off.
It's not, though, and I went online and there's like this there's actually a huge thing about like is it epitome or epitome? It's never been epitome. It's not like the Z thing where some people you can say epitome, I guess, but you're always gonna be wrong. There are some different pronunciation variants if whether you say epitome, like as if there's a D in there, or epitome.
Manuel, does any of this really matter or
No.
is related to the show?
This is just Manuel ranting.
Yeah, this is me ranting. Okay, I finished the
Okay.
post there. I didn't think we'd take this long me ranting about this.
Manuel, tomato,
yes.
tomato, potato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Let's
Let's actually get into our show.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Samwise Gamgee, and all I talk about are potatoes. I don't remember the exact line he says in that movie, something about but yeah, he likes his potatoes. And tonight I'm joined with Frodo Baggins. Hi, Frodo Baggins. No,
Who?
I called you Frodo Baggins.
Why?
I'm
listening to the new AKB song. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, it's funny because I was trying to too, but it's so distracting.
Anyways, yes, hi everyone. I'm Nyaru. Today I am here. I just had my HelloFresh Szechuan pork and green beans rice bowl. It was very good, actually. If you'd like to see a picture of it, feel free to go to twitter.com/Nyaruchu for a full high-res food porn picture. Other than that, happy to be here.
Are you the epitome of happiness right now?
I'm full. I actually have a headache right now. I'll be real with you.
Yeah, I had Little Caesars earlier. I mentioned this before we went live, and I didn't actually go on to say that I feel a little sick, and not sick as in like I think the food is making me ill, like I'm gonna like vomit everywhere. I just feel like it was very buttery because I got like cheese sticks too, and like I just feel like, am I like butter intolerant? Is that a thing people can be?
Lactose intolerant?
Butter intolerant, yes. Is that milk? I mean, okay, clearly there's milk and butter. Here, Manuel say stupid things after getting on people's cases about pronouncing epitome. Oh, I just like snorted and I think I inhaled something disgusting. Hey guys, this is the ultra disgusting podcast Z. But for real, though, we got some topics tonight. What are we watching? Well, we'll start with the what are we blanking. We'll get into this. We got a decent energy already going. I started watching the new AKB48 single. What is this? Moto Karadesu? And what's up with all the choreography looking so like fierce? The other one had kicks too, and I just whenever I see a kick in a
this
dance,
one feels this okay. So you know what? Okay. So I already watched. I actually reacted to it live on stream yesterday, during my just chatting stream, because someone let me know that it happened. I thought it was gonna happen that night, but I was a day ahead. Anyways, what do you call it? It reminds me the whole thing. My first impression of it. This sounds like a 2000s Morning Musume song.
it actually does. And what the dance
Like
break
Morning
part,
Musume is fucking sobbing, crying, shitting, pissing, and coming right now.
no, the dance break part where like there's a bit of the rap and the piano's doing the kind of the piano's on the beat there. That part sounds so much like an old school Morning Musume rap. That was actually the part that was distracting me earlier when I was like, I can't watch this. I didn't start the show because I can't do two things at the same time. But yeah, that part definitely sounds, especially the rap part. The rap reminds me a lot of the kind of raps you would hear in gosh, I don't know if you remember the really old Morning Musume songs like Daita Hold On Me or shit like that. It has that kind of rap part in there. It sounds like that. But yeah, I just think I just found the kicks in the dance pretty interesting. And there's a girl with purple hair, and I'm like, since when has AKB48 had a girl with purple hair? That feel like, when did I sleep on that? I remember like watching a lot of old AKB videos, and everyone kind of just had typical idol hair colors. You don't really see purple hair.
You get Tomochin with the blonde every now and then,
Yeah,
or the dirty blonde. But yeah, no, it's like I kind of like it though. I like it
I like
personally.
it too. Buttery cheese. What? Buttery cheese sticks. I had buttery cheese sticks.
I want buttery cheese sticks.
Oh, I went to Olive Garden the other day and I had Olive Garden's so weird because Olive Garden has the really good breadsticks, not cheese sticks. That tastes really good when you're there. And I don't know what happens to the butter that's on them, just like fall off, get absorbed, I guess. But they never taste good if you take them home. But yeah, that's my Olive Garden. Why does everyone hate on Olive Garden?
I don't hate on. Well,
Because
I
they
don't like
don't
their main
salt the
course
water for their
stuff.
pasta.
That too.
But it's
You
so
can
crazy.
tell.
Would you say, JD, they wet their pasta?
They don't salt the water they cook their pasta in.
Well, to be totally fair, I rarely eat their pasta. I know that might sound stupid, but I really rarely eat their pasta.
What do you eat from there then?
They have this. Well, usually if I getting a normal menu item that's just on the menu, I'll get like lasagna. First of all,
Which
I've
is-
definitely gone there, huh? I
Which
guess
is
there would still be
pasta.
salt. I guess there would still be salt, but there's so much other shit in there I wouldn't notice.
No, Manuel. They don't salt the water before they boil it to cook the pasta.
I'm pretty sure the pasta just like comes in a bag. But anyways,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike's their main chef.
but that's what annoys me too. People get all uppity about like Olive Garden, like, oh, it's not real Italian food. I'm like, did you think it was? I mean, that's not a reason to hate them. I don't go to Denny's thinking, well, Denny's kind of is American food as far as I'm concerned. But you don't go to Denny's thinking you're getting like, you know, A-tier food. I don't know. I just find the whole argument funny. Also,
Yeah.
real fast, before JD gets mad at me, I want to tell the story really quickly. When I was in high school, I had this catering class, and I took it because I used to sell food at this. This is not the story I'm going to tell us real fast. This is why I took it, because I used to sell food in class to make money. That's actually where I got my first DVD player. I would make food and cook in class and sell it throughout the day, breaking tons of hell codes and violating to the school rules, whatever I did it. But in that class, the whole thing was that for years, the when I was in high school, everyone's like, "Oh, if you go to that class, you sell like they have this big cook off every year where like they sell all this food that they make to the school. People buy it. It's like for like a week long thing, and then with the money they raise, they go to like a fancy restaurant, right? Air quotes, by the way. And mind you, this is a poor like area. I grew up in a really like ghetto in LA. But in my head, I was like, oh, we're going to a fancy restaurant. That's cool. I couldn't wait till it was my turn when I took the class. So just to fast forward to the end of the year, or actually the middle of the year when this happens, you know where we went?
Olive Garden.
We went to Olive Garden.
But why?
And that I don't want to. I mean, like maybe to the teacher that was also a fancy restaurant, but like we went to Olive Garden, and even to my poor kid self, who was lucky, like if I got like a burger somewhere, something like that, even I thought Olive Garden was very like upper low tier. You know what I mean? And why the fuck did we have to sell all this shit to make that money? By the way, we still kind of had to pay for some of it so ourselves, but I was like, I could have paid for Olive Garden. Like we were poor, but I'm pretty sure like, hey mom, can we have $20 for this trip? She would have found a way to give me that $20 or whatever. And it's probably way less even then. But it just blew my mind. And apparently the year before they went to Claim Jumper. I don't know if you ever heard of Claim Jumper. I don't think they exist anymore.
Yeah.
But it's also not a high class restaurant. It's another upper low tier, mid tierish restaurant. Anyway, that's my Olive Garden story. What about Spaghetti? Spaghetti Factory is a lot better. I like Spaghetti Factory. I went to the one in San Francisco during Fanime, and it's great. It's also a chain though. I don't think it's like, but it's definitely a lot more authentic if you want Italian.
Yeah, there's also the argument that most Italian food is American in origin anyway, from Italian immigrants in New York.
Yeah, apparently, if you want real Italian, well, way off topic. Apparently, if you want real Italian food, a lot of it's fish. I've never had like real Italian food, quote unquote, in Italy, but I've always been told that. It's like, oh, hope you like a lot of fish pasta. Not fish pasta, but like, shrimp, fucking whatever. Wait, that sounded weird. We don't want to say. Or squid ink spaghetti or some bullshit, I don't know. Nyaru,
Yeah,
why are
it's
you
just-
a squid?
Because I'm a kid. And
Okay,
a
let's
squid,
move.
and a kid,
Nyaru.
and a squid, and a kid, and a squid, and a kid, and a squid, and a
Okay.
kid, and a squid, and a kid, and a squid, and a kid, and a squid, and a kid, and a squid. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, Nyaru, what are you watching, playing, whatever, right?
So I finished up Lucky Star. I'm almost caught up on Grey's Anatomy. I'm literally on the 18th season that's going on right now. And then I am picking up right now Haruhi, Melancholy Haruhi Suzumiya. Watching it in chronological order, not in airing order, sadly, because I know a lot of people ask me about that. And I'm currently halfway through Endless 8, and I am very excited.
It's funny because I had this realization the other day, because probably because we talked about Grey's Anatomy so much, I've been getting like ads for it, and I forgot what I clicked on, but I was clicking on something, and I was like, "Oh, Grey's Anatomy," and I felt like I should tell you. And I know we talked about both at one point, so maybe that just my confusion started there. But for the past like year or so, when you've mentioned Grey's Anatomy, in my head, I've been thinking ER.
That's what a lot of people tell me, actually.
Yes.
But it's okay.
So that's why I was confused it was still running, because I'm 99% sure ER ended a long time ago.
Yeah, ER ended like early 2000s, and then
Yeah.
like a year or two, I think, after ER was Grey's Anatomy, and then it's been going ever since. Like, they had a fucking COVID season, and I fucking love the one thing I love about Grey's Anatomy. Holy shit, this is what got me. Is after their COVID season, which is season, I think, like 17. Yeah, season 17. They're just like the rest of everything after in this season is actually like post-COVID in a fictional world where we believe what we want to achieve and everything. I'm like, come on. Shonda Rhimes, queen. That's not how any of this works, but okay.
That's so
She's
crazy.
trying.
I don't think I've ever really seen media incorporate COVID get into their plots, so that blows my mind.
Ooh, Miss Shonda Rhimes was right on it, on the money with it, I swear.
Because like whenever I was watching, like, Cobra Kai is a really good example because I had a new season. It was clearly filmed during the pandemic. You could tell by the way like things are staged.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, this is filmed in the pandemic. How the fuck are they not talking about COVID? Like, why didn't they mention there was no school year last year? You know, it just blew my mind. But anyway, it's funny because I feel like I need to qualify what I'm going to say next. So, did you watch the Oscars, Nyaru?
I don't want to talk about that.
I'm not going where you think you are, though, because there's the big obvious elephant in the room, and I don't want to talk about that. But did you watch the Oscars?
No.
Because there's a bigger other story as far as I'm concerned. Before, obviously, I'm not going to say what it is, but everyone knows what it is. We've seen the memes, we've heard the both sides. I'm not going to go into that. What I want to talk about, though, is all the snubs animation got during the Oscars.
I'll be real with you. I really don't pay attention to this crap.
It's funny.
I'm not interested in it at all. If it's a good movie, I think it's a good movie. I don't need to listen to anyone else.
To be fair,
Care
I think
about,
in
like, that
Kanto
stuff.
1, right? JD, I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
Yes.
I think in Kanto 1, best animated feature. But leading up to the award, like I think Amy Schumer, who's one of the hosts, and I can't remember who the presenters were. At various points, it was actually like 2 or 3 points. They were bringing up like, oh, it's like animation is for kids, but adults can enjoy it too. I think that was like one of the actual like quotes they said. Like I think Amy said that. At some point, they're all like, "Oh, I don't watch these movies, but I've seen Encanto a bunch because of my like 4-year-old or whatever." And there was a lot of snubs, and they got a lot of people like, "Oh, animation is more than just kid content," and get over it. And I don't know, it's funny because my hot take on this, and maybe Nara, do you have a take on this, by the way? Thinking animation.
Like I said, if it's good to me, that's all I'm concerned with.
See, that's what I mean too. I think 2 things can be true, and I don't know if JD is like will disagree with me or not on this, but I agree that the vast majority of animation is for children. And I always
what?
find I agree that the vast majority of animation the world over is for children. And I find it weird that people try to say otherwise. Don't get me wrong. There's very artsy, like very abstract. There's even
So
porn,
with this,
obviously.
I think no. Here's a better way of saying it. People automatically assume because it's animation that kids are the demographic, but in reality, it's not really. It doesn't even matter. You can watch whatever you want.
That's what I was getting at. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think both are true. Yes, I
Like,
think
why are we trying to Like it's the same thing with like trick or treating. Like we get it, it's for mostly for the kids, but that doesn't mean that other people can't enjoy it either.
Exactly. Like we've had that conversation many a time too.
Mm-hmm.
I even mentioned like back about trick or treating that I would like take my nieces and nephews. I'm like, oh, we're going trick or treating. I'm like, hey, I get candy this year. I get to wear a costume and go trick or treating again. I'm also we didn't do I personally didn't do that very much when I was young. But yeah, I just I find an interesting argument, and I think a lot of people take weird takes on that. I'm like, yes, and because I get a lot of like, oh, but anime, look at anime. I'm like, yeah, but most of the anime is technically also for children, and I don't mean it's only for children, but I mean it's for children.
Mm-hmm.
Like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. I can go on
Pretty
about all the
para.
yeah, these are for kids, and sure you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it the same way you enjoy like Ducktales or fucking Ed and Eddie or
Woo!
whatever the hell. You can enjoy what the fuck you want. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just find that funny, and and then people like to point out some of the other stuff. Like, what's that new Batman show, JD? Is it
Wow.
actually a Batman show, or is
I
it
have no
like
idea what you're talking
the
about.
one that's all edgy and adult and like there's like cursing every 3
Titans?
seconds? And that one's so ridiculous because it's animated like the old cartoon, like the one from the 90s, the Batman the Animated Series, but everyone curses. And I watched an episode. Actually, I didn't watch it. Some a family member was watching it, and when I was visiting them, and I watched it like through the side, and I'm like, this feels like the opposite of trying to edge up the. I mean, like of thinking that people curse for real, because like there was so much cursing. Like Joker was like, "Ah, this is fucking bullshit, Batman. What the fuck are you talking about?" Like nobody talks like that. Like nobody really talks like that. Like that just feels like I don't know. It feels like, and then it's animated like a kid show. So I just find that interesting. It's also the same. I think it's the same show where they admitted where Batman doesn't go down on girls or whatever.
Oh, that was Harley Quinn.
Oh, was that Harley Quinn? Am I appropriating her show for Batman?
Yes.
Batman appropriation.
I'm being sexist too, on top of having bad takes. So everyone can doubly cancel me for my views. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it interesting. I find it interesting that the argument happened at all, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing that it's if you go on Twitter, there's people like constantly going on about that. In Kanto won. Oh, also there's the other argument is that everyone's upset because the award will pretty much always go to a Disney movie, just almost by default. Because
Yeah.
it's like
I
quote
haven't
unquote.
seen it, but I am gonna probably watch it just sometime this week, so I can't really give like a opinion on that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, most of it. Sorry, go
I
ahead,
don't know
Nyaru.
what else was compared up to it, but I will say like I'm a sucker for Disney movies. Maybe
That's what I
I
was
would
gonna
have voted for
say.
it too. I don't know.
I find
I
that
think it.
weird. Go ahead.
I think it's also that basically the members of the Academy only watch the Disney movies before voting. Is kind of the problem with trying to get anything else nominated or to
That
win.
I mean, first of all, I would hope that at least the Academy members are watching other
Nope.
shit. But you also got to admit, and I feel that's very unfair. Sure, Disney's a giant corporation. It's fun to like talk shit about them. I agree. I'll fucking do that for days on end. But you got to admit, everyone loves their shit. You can't just pretend that just because
Yeah.
they're giant, you can't give it an award. It's like
Yeah.
Mm.
And a lot of it's also the money behind the campaign, which they have a lot and are willing to shell out.
I mean, but like, I wonder what let me look up the other best anime. I'm curious what the other nominees were. Best
Rhea,
anime.
the Mitchells versus the Machines, and
How,
Flea, I think.
how did that even get on there?
I've never heard of the rest.
Well, I've never heard the other one, but I've heard the Mitch. Okay, the Mitch. I think the Mitchells versus the Machine person. They were upset and they were tweeting about it or something like that. Everyone thought that should
Oh,
have.
I remember that. They were like, yeah, no, it's not fair that we went up against a big corporation like that, but whatever.
You see, I don't know about that, but I have seen Rhea, and I'm surprised that was nominated at all. Didn't everyone hate that? Because I remember, and there's all. I remember I watch a lot of um Asian cultural channels, uh, and they were like they particularly didn't like it. And by the way, this is my view, just parroting them because I don't have a stake in this, or I shouldn't talk about this. But it's one of those Asian movies that just takes a lot of Asian things and throws it all together into one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people didn't like Ray Adam. They thought it was very cultural appropriation-y in a different way. So I don't know. And Luca,
Yeah.
I didn't like. I saw Luca too. I didn't like Luca.
Yeah. Oh, Luca was really good. I liked it.
I don't like Encanto either, but I thought Encanto. If I had to choose from the three that I've seen, I've never seen Mitchell and the Machines. I will admit, so maybe I'm just as bad as the fucking
Yeah.
Academy. But I would pick Encanto if I had to in this choice. And
Really sad.
in case anyone's wondering, uh, teaching what the fuck is the panda movie called? The new one,
Turning Red.
Turning Red. I love
Turning
that
Red.
one.
That will be in next year's awards, not
Yeah.
this one. Because I saw a lot of tweets about like, why didn't Turning Red win? I'm like, no. Even though it's 22 awards, we're technically talking about 2021. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to air, or is it screen for at least a week in LA or something?
Fun fact though about that, a lot of people like to point out that if a movie releases too early in the award season, it just gets forgotten because of human nature. You know what I mean? Like you might love the fuck out of it, but because like Turning Red came out so early and what's going to be next year's award season, people might forget about it. Like because something new will be out like in December. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you can get around that. I think Get Out actually came out like between January and the Academy Awards for that year, but still ended up winning Best Original Screenplay, I think,
I'm
in the
not
next
gonna
years.
lie. I've been really interested in seeing Get Out. I have not seen Get Out, and I keep hearing good
It's
things about
really
it.
good, actually.
Yeah,
It's
and
it's really good.
I've somehow stayed away from all spoilers, and ask me how I managed that, even though everyone was talking about it. So I can't wait to watch that eventually one day. I think it's finally on some service I have access to. So yeah.
Okay, I think that's enough about the
Anyway,
Oscars, Manuel.
yeah, the Oscars, blah blah blah. That's it. Anime, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
My last point, and it's actually my segue too, is it tripped me out watching the Oscars at all, because even in like the red carpet scenes and they're outdoors, I didn't see anyone wearing a mask. And I don't mean, obviously, I don't expect celebrities to, just because, mainly an image thing no matter what. But there was no one I even saw off in the periphery or even like staff or whatever. It blew my mind. I'm like, was there an anti-mask thing set into effect? Because I think LA still has an indoor mask. Wait, no, it doesn't anymore. Oops. That lifted like 2 weeks ago. But yeah.
Yeah, like
So,
it lifted. I think it lifted for the whole country like
so
2 or
yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Well, I think there still are some cities and individual places.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's individual events that can still have a right to be like, hey, put on a mask, or
Yeah.
even individual like restaurants or places or whatever.
Yeah. GDC did that.
Where was
and
GDC? Is that in San Francisco?
yeah.
I think the Bay Area has much stricter rules, because if you remember also, that's actually where the pandemic really broke out in the West Coast. It's 2 years ago. But Fanime has pretty strict things, and they tweeted about that recently, updating it. And not only do you have to be vaxxed to go, but you also have to be boosted. So everyone's like up in arms right now, because I think the time frame, it's really hard to even do any of that. If you haven't, even if you are like, fine, I'll do it.
So wait, what? Wait, hold on. Repeat that. I don't know why I couldn't hear you.
Anime, you have to be vaxxed and boosted.
Yoshi.
And like, it's one of those cons, like what ALA tried to do, but then they backed out on. Except
Do
not
you
only
want
are
peanut butter?
is she lying to you? I mean, is he lying to you again? Because he did that last week.
Let me go double check.
Anyway, I'll keep going while Nyaru's giving peanut butter to her doggo. Anyway, yeah. Vaccines, IRL events. I want to talk about IRL events and how crazy they are, that we're still. I'll wait till Nyaru comes fully back. I'll repeat it. But JD, what are your thoughts on virtual events and virtual guests in 2022?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I understand why they might have it, or especially because it allows for ease of access for things. Like GDC was a really big, like really controversial this year because pandemic's still going on. A lot of people gather together, even if we're all supposed to be vaxxed, boosted, or tested and wearing masks. And there are still a couple confirmed cases that have been caught there because one guy was, I don't want to say stupid enough to go after he had confirmed he had COVID and be outside, I'm assuming unmasked, in an area where people were gathering.
That's crazy. It's funny because I know for a fact that some people And there were some that were like tweeted around like very public shamey, but it was a couple that I won't name, but who were like in my like outer circle, who I know people who like went to ALA even they were like COVID positive, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
Why are you doing this?
and on top of that, it's just the kind of exorbitant price of GC. Like I think a full access pass is somewhere around $2,000,
He
and
fooled
then you have
me.
to stay in San Francisco too, which is expensive. So being
Dude.
online being all online would help a lot for access to that. And there are like similar game developer conferences that take place online. I can't remember what it's called.
I went to J-pop Summit, and like, well, I went there for a few years, but one of the years I went, we stayed at this. It was a Best Western, but they must have barely skidded by on getting that branding, because it was like this cheap Motor Inn hotel that had bed bugs, and like, I thank God I never got bit, but like, or I did some sort of bed bug. I don't know if it was actually bed bugs, but like, Snacks was with me, and he kept going to sleep, and every day he wake up, he's like, something's biting me. He have all these bite marks on his arm, and it was funny at the time. Now I think, what the fuck? Why was I laughing about that? And trying to get my money back. The hotel was like $400 a night. I'm like, what the fuck? And that was one of the cheapest in San Francisco. I hate San Francisco. Anyway, Nyaru, what are your thoughts on cons still? What there's actually not that many that are doing it virtual only. What are your thoughts on virtual guests in 2022? Like you've been one recently.
I
And
mean, I am going to be one, and I've been one already, so I have experiences on both ends.
So,
but I think,
go ahead.
like, it just gives a lot more accessibility and opportunities for like cons and attendees, and of course industry people to work, I guess, like cons without having to like pay for like, flight, travel, hotel, anything like that. But I kind of do miss, like, being like in person, because like one thing I really do like is just like seeing every person like in person. I don't know, that's just me though.
It's funny because we've talked about this before, but something like kind of triggered in my memory when I a couple days ago, before I even decided we would talk about this. Because I don't know why I've never mentioned this. I think I mentioned it when it happened, because definitely at least one or two of them was when UPZ was happening. So I mentioned, oh, that was cool because we did this. We actually used to push for virtual guests a lot at A to J back in the day. If you remember, Nyaru, like when we would have Heidi on like the podcast, we talked about, oh, we're doing a convention. We should Skype you in at a panel, and like things like that. We talked about Skyping in Koto to an event, and even beyond that, when we had some of our other panels, like our VK panels, we had several where we Skyped in VK
I
people to
remember
the
those
panels.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were at one of them, I think, when we Skyped in Kaya. So
Yeah. I was at that one.
So yeah, we've done several of these. So how did I ever forget that when all the other times we talked about this? And the funny thing that blows my mind, and you might remember the Kaya one, because I was running around like a chicken with its head cut off, because the con refused to help us out, and their actual reasoning was that like no convention would spend resources on a virtual guest.
And then look at us now.
And I know that times have changed, and obviously they're changing the tune, but it just blew my mind. And I don't know how the fuck I could be forgotten about that. All the headaches there have been times when we didn't have a guest that we had lined up, just because when we got there, we couldn't get Wi-Fi, I think, at the center, like at all. Like we couldn't even pay for it. Like nobody would give it to us. Like, oh, we only have it if you're a vendor. I'm like, and I would try to like, oh, like, can somebody like try to see if their phone works or some bullshit, and we couldn't. There have been times where that happened, and it just blows my mind that things have turned around. So for the record, I want to point out that we've definitely been on that end trying to push for it. How I forgot about that before, I'll never know. But anyway, what bothers me, Nyaru, about a lot of, because we talked about this, I can't remember which con did it recently. There was a con recently that had some like idol guests from Japan that pre-recorded their panel.
Oh, it was Anime Frontier.
And yeah, it was. Thank you. I'm like, I think it was the Texas one. Yeah, it was.
No, you're not getting peanut butter. Go away.
He wants us. Just give him a jar.
He's had 2 peanut butter treats and his gentle treat. No, you're not fooling me. I don't care how cute you look.
But yeah, it's always been the biggest gripe of mine when cons like, okay, if you're gonna do a virtual guest, I'm actually still behind it for the record. Obviously, I've been behind it before. I will admit that I'm a little like, what's the word? I'm a little burnt out on the idea of virtual anything because of the pandemic. And part of me, the more sane part of me, is like, Manuel, shut up, you're being stupid. So, um,
I just like that there's a little more accessibility for everyone because,
yeah,
like, I guess without having the because now I think about it, you don't have to pay for like flight, hotel, food, and getting in between like all that other crap. Like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
becoming a little more accessible for even smaller cons. Like for example, the Polish con I went to. They paid me and everything. They even made merch for me, and
they
I got a
paid.
big cut of that. Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. That we'll
But
jump
they
to that
paid me
thing.
a course. They paid me a course like in their rates and currency, which I don't mind honestly. At least I got something out of it. But at the same time, if it wasn't for having that virtual accessibility to guest at cons like that, I would not be able to go to that cute little small convention like, all the way across the world and find out I have a really big Polish community, which is very crazy to me. But yeah, I that's one thing I've like really grown to love about it. Even though like, yeah, I get it. We're all sick of like virtual cons and virtual everything, but it really is a key to having more access to a lot of things that we would not have access to, or even small town cons and events would not have access to.
Yeah, and I will admit that I kind of had like my mind awoken, so to speak, a couple days ago. But first of all, I was talking to because I told you like we're gonna go to Off-Kai Expo. So I was talking to Callie
Yeah,
about some
you're gonna
things.
interview me.
Yeah, and she was telling me about some guests that aren't gonna be there during their virtual appearances. But
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know who it is. I don't know how out there, but
I
apparently
know
one of the
who isn't. So
oh well, there's one guest that apparently couldn't go for health reasons anyway, even if they wanted to. I don't know if that's even several of them actually. Like, we shouldn't be doxing them in real life, but apparently they've been open with it themselves. Um,
mm-mm.
so I won't even say who that is because I actually remember the name, but just in case. But there's one of the guests who apparently it's like, oh, they can't. Maybe it's not even a VTuber. Like they can't go because of health reasons. And I'm like, oh, dumbass Manuel should realize that some people have like legit reasons why they probably could never go. Also, if you go to the IdleCon, a convention I believe you took part in no 2 years ago, a virtual convention, when they announced that they were merging with Northwest Idol Fest. By the way, they're doing that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking through the replies, just curious what the replies would be. And there were people in the replies who were saying like, "Oh my god, this was the first convention I ever went to because like I can't leave my house. Like I don't know for what reason, but they can't leave their house." And I'm like, "Oh shit."
Well, I
Some
mean,
people
like, whenever I think about like those kind of people, I think about myself when I was like younger.
exactly.
Um, not having like a car or anything, or having parents who like understand what you like and everything. But of course, since you live like in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and resources are tight for everyone, it's like not really logical to like go to every event and everything like that. So a lot of like the online cons were a lot of people's first conventions because they finally had accessibility to some kind of event where they can at least get a simulation at the very least of what it's like to be at a convention, and of course all in the comfort of their own home, which I personally like because I don't have to go to no stinky hotel and then deal with like stinky people and then deal with like stinky con people like me, and then like everyone's just stinky. No, I get to be stinky in my own space, and that's what I really loved about that era of COVID. Is like all the online events I can be at home and be stinky.
Yara, take a shower, please. I feel like I have to hose you off at fucking Off-Kai. Like, yeah, she's stinky.
Yeah, and then I don't have to worry about people calling me stinky.
Yeah, it's stinky. It's funny because I was stinky. No, but it's funny because um you mentioned getting paid, and one of the things that blew and I'll get back on topic. This is my only off topic. It blew my mind that one of the reasons IdleCon cited for not being able to continue was that they basically didn't have the money to continue. I guess because they were paying for the
I
first con
mean,
out of pocket.
when I guested at IdleCon the first time,
Did they pay
they
you?
of course like they didn't pay me. I just showed up and I did my panel, and that was really it. But this time, the very final IdleCon, where I went as VTuber me, I got paid. I got paid really
I
nicely,
didn't know
actually.
they were paying people.
Yeah, they
And
paid.
like
They paid very nicely for everyone. Actually, doesn't matter as long as you were on the special guest list. You got paid for your
that
time.
blows my mind. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people shouldn't get paid for their time. That's a very valid thing.
But it's just we're
But
not used to that. We're not used to hearing us get paid for what
e-
we're worth.
even big cons don't often pay. That's the part that blew my
Mhm.
mind. Like there are times where big cons try to like really badly shortchange you, or they'll be like, "Oh, we can't pay you," but like, I mean, this is still fair. It's still technically paying, and obviously, IdleCon doesn't have this issue. But they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a hotel, but you have to come on your own, or we'll do." I
Mhm.
remember. I won't name who, but we were trying to get this guest at ALA one year. Actually, I shouldn't have said the con either. It doesn't matter. I already said it. I'll bleep it. We were trying to
No
get a
shade.
guest there, and um the agreement they gave us, and also the reason why it ultimately didn't happen, was they were either going to pay for a flight or a hotel, not both. And they weren't going to pay at all on top of that, but they might give them a table where they could potentially make money selling merch. But it blew my mind that offers like that exist. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, apparently, like, it blew my mind also that AutoCon would pay their guests. I didn't think they would because it's a virtual event. um but
No, they paid
good,
me very nicely. They even gave us a cut of the merchandise that they produced for us too.
good on
Um,
them.
Yeah.
and yeah, it was just a really nice. It was one of the very nice small events that I wish can continue, but it's of course going to continue in a new format, Northwest Idol Festival. Um, and yeah, I'm excited for Northwest this year though. I'm really excited for it.
What's happening this year? I thought it happened earlier in the year, and it's not happening until next year.
No, it happened last year, not in like
Oh, okay.
November, and then it's happening this year in October.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. North Title Fest.
Okay.
But yeah, I just think that's interesting that they paid anyone. That blew my mind. Also, rest in peace, IdleCon. What I think was a lot of virtual cons. First of all, to cover this real fast, because I really want to talk about virtual guests more than virtual cons. Uh, I don't think that there really is a place for all virtual con. I mean, like, virtual only
Virtual
cons.
guests.
No, virtual only cons anymore. I think
Mm-mm.
maybe hybrid cons is a bit more of a thing that I think we can still see, but I don't think we're ever going to see the glut of virtual only cons ever again. That was definitely a
Mm-hmm.
pandemic thing. Also, I think there was kind of like, you remember like about 10 years ago when there was but there was anime conventions everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like that happened in like a 10-month period or a 6-month period during the pandemic, where there were virtual cons everywhere. And and the double problem is, because they're virtual, there's no regional like problems. Like,
Mm-mm.
you
It's
know,
like an everywhere problem.
yeah, exactly. So maybe before there was 5 cons in SoCal like fighting with each other, but now there's 30 cons in North America fighting for each other in the same week, kind of thing. Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember, like, there would be tons of them. I was in a Discord that wasn't for a particular con. It was just like a virtual con, and it was for idols only. So that I wasn't even seeing the wider world. I was just seeing specifically for like VTubers and idols. And there were so many cons, like often conflicting with each other,
Uh,
like every week. What are you gonna say, JD?
Virtual guests, get to it, Manuel.
Anyways, I don't think virtual cons will exist. JD, what's your view on virtual cons? Do you like them? Am I just being an asshole, or was I actually? I changed my mind. So was I
Like,
still being an asshole?
I think a bit. Like I explained it earlier when we were talking when Nyaru wasn't here, that I basically agree with her that it allows for increased accessibility, and there are definitely some smaller ones that could be online,
Mm-hmm.
or at least allow for online options. Like I know TorCon, my alma mater's anime club's con, wanted to do that this year, but the campus like nixed plans over copyright reasons.
Wait, what? That's a
Uh,
weird reason.
yeah, because it's an anime convention, and they might be streaming anime clips or game clips or stuff, and
Oh yeah. For the
weird,
record, that's a
or
very big
music.
no-no. I remember I was at a convention one time, and they were talking about basically it was old school anime expo staffers holding a panel about like, oh, remember the old days? Fun fact, this panel was like 15 years ago, so those are the old days to me. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, they were talking about the earlier days, and apparently, like Anime Expo back in the early '90s would just show whatever the fuck they wanted, and then one day, the director of one of the animes was there, and he's like, "How the fuck do you have my movie? It's not available in the U.S." And yeah, apparently Anime Expo almost got like shut down forever because of this. It was like, I mean, it's known, but it was so early, nobody really cares. But yeah. Anyways, don't do that. That's why you need like a Crunchyroll sponsor or something. You can't just play whatever the fuck you want. That's why there's warnings at the beginning of DVDs, and fan subs count too. Anyway, Nyaru, the big question for you then is: so you've been a virtual guest. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on conventions that do pre-recorded virtual guest appearances?
So I had the opportunity to not be a guest, but I did do a pre-recorded performance for Northwest Idol Festival last year. Personally, like I can personally, if I was guessing, I'd be like, oh well, I'm expecting like the person to be like at least alive at the very least. But what people don't understand is that sometimes, like, especially at least like in the VTuber scope, it is virtually impossible at this moment, given with our technology, to deal with song delay and like the recording and then our vocals and everything. That takes a lot of hours to prep, actually. Like I'm talking a lot. Um Sorry, I have ice in my mouth.
Don't chew ice. There's this
No,
viral
fuck you.
TikTok. There's this viral TikTok that's like somebody who like shattered like two of their teeth chewing ice, and it's
Well,
such a
they're a
disturbing,
pussy.
disturbing video. And whenever I think about chewing ice anymore, I remember that video. Anyways, keep going.
And like, yeah, I mean, I personally actually prefer doing pre-recorded performances because at least like I'm guaranteed it's going to be clean, cut, get to the point. It can stay within a certain time frame. I can add like cool special effects and everything, and it just be
Chew
cheaper to do and take less amount of like man hours to like get all that prepped.
I agree on virtual. I mean, I agree on virtual performances because I have watched a few, and I don't want to. I won't call out any names here, but and their heart was in the right place. But there was a certain promoter that was doing a lot of like live Q&A with bands
Mm-hmm.
early on in the pandemic, and then they would do like an acoustic performance, but it always sounded kind of off. And that wasn't even playing against a pre-recorded track because that's usually when you start getting the delays. But
Mm-hmm.
like, it still sounded weird. Like um there was a delay for starters, but also it sounded like the quality was weird. It's really hard to like on a computer setup to like do a studio unless you have really professional equipment. So it's all like it was very
Yeah,
lackluster.
it's a lot of man hours, a lot of like actual audio equipment that you need, and not a lot of cons can either afford the man hours, afford the equipment, or even have the time to set it up. Because like the most I've been given for a con setup time was like 2 hours.
Oh,
And even then, we still struggle. Like that was for like an idol festival. We still struggled to like get everything done within that 2 hours. Now imagine a VTuber trying to sync up everything they want to do and their music, every track, and then they had to like figure out audio levels, and then they had to make sure their vocals and everything is in sync, and then is their video in sync, and all of this. It's not worth having to delay a whole panel because of technical issues when you can just have everything clean cut to the point and have something pre-made. I know it sucks for people who expect something very live and everything, but I'd rather have something clean and cut versus being delayed, being scruff, and not giving my best foot forward.
So that's a good take. But how about here's the other flip coin. What are your thoughts on pre-recording your panel?
The whole panel, no, I don't like that because that is one of the most simplest setups you can do. Doesn't You don't
Oh
even
yeah.
have to be a VTuber. You don't have to be a VTuber. It is one of the most simplest things anyone can do it. Unless of course you have like a performance element to it, then I can understand pre-recorded
Oh yeah.
things. Or like let's say you have like a guest who couldn't like, or not like a guest but like a speaker that you want to present. Um Record like a clip and then like present it as like a backup like factual statement or whatever the fuck. Like yeah, I can get that. But pre-recording the whole panel, I'm not too sure about, honestly, unless it's like a Japanese guest where you want to add like subtitles to like all the like a Q&A kind of style. Like I totally get that. Of course you want to understand everything and not have like a live translator like going over the audio being like, oh
Interpreter.
yes, you know.
See, look at this. I'm not gonna lie. I was ready to debunk the entire idea of pre-recording things. It never once occurred to me ever that one of the reasons you might want to do that is to make translation easier. That you could subtitle it. It's also accessibility. Manuel's an asshole.
Yeah,
Manuel never
we know
thinks
that,
about
Manuel.
accessibility.
Yeah,
Plus,
we know.
it also allows them to, well, as we were talking with performances, edit it so that there are no like, you don't have to worry about technical issues. You don't have to worry about like your connection dropping in the middle of it if it's just a pre-recorded video or
Oh, yeah,
stuttering or all that kind of stuff.
It's just
funny.
a lot. It's so risky to do live video virtual performances when you can just pre-record everything and
Well,
just
I
have
mean,
it done there.
even if talks, you might have that
Mhm.
problem if you don't have
The
solid internet. Or
talking parts are fine, yeah.
no,
There's a
you might
certain
even have that problem though. That,
Oh, but
No,
like you'd
yeah,
even have a
yeah.
lag on it just if your internet's bad.
there's
Mhm.
certain conventions that have a lot of virtual guests upcoming, and why do you think Offkite is one of them too? That's not the one I was thinking about actually, top of my head. By the way, a lot of this I'm talking about is because Fanime announced that they're having a virtual guest. I just want to point that out. That's mainly what I'm
Wait, who's
talking
their
about.
virtual guest though?
It's who is the virtual guest? Thank you for asking me because I wish I'd written that in my notes. FanimeCon. Do you remember JD? It's
I
a
don't
voice
follow
actress. You don't go to Fanime? It's Aoi Yuki. I've never heard of her
Cool.
before.
Aoyuki. Yeah, I
I've
know
never
that
heard her
name.
before, but she has a lot of credits that I do know. But she is with Aoni, who is they're what do you call it? They're an agency that work with Fanime a lot. So I'm not surprised they're an Aoni person. But they've been who are they? Who have they been? I've never heard of Tatsumaki for One Punch Man. That's one of the roles.
Oh,
They
wait,
Oh,
is
they're
it?
a Genshin voice actor.
oh they are in Genshin.
They're
It's
Madoka.
Lumine. I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah,
Genshiner.
Lumine.
Lumine. And she's Lizethea in Three Houses. I know that character, but only in English. I don't think you can get the Japanese voice track easily in the US for that game. But yeah. Anyway, and she's Sakura in Futaba Sakura in Persona 5. Oh, that's a good one. But anyways,
She's Madoka in Madoka Magica.
is she really? I think that's
Yeah.
probably her.
In
That's probably
JP Madoka?
Yeah.
probably her biggest role, and that's the one I didn't read.
She's
And it's not even listed on there.
It is. It's the first one. It just you can't see it.
Oh.
It's I
she's
skipped it. 'cause
Asui in My Hero Academia, the frog girl, just in case.
these are all like some. Anyway, she's gonna be. And the reason why they didn't say this part yet. Oh, first of all, the part that like upset me and a lot of people is they announced her on Twitter first, and then somebody realized. I guess like the person who probably runs the Twitter didn't realize that she was virtual because they had to amend it. I think the tweet is still up, so you can go see this. I'll link it or whatever, embed it. I'll embed it on screen. I think I'm sure I'll find it somewhere. But they had to roll it back and be like, actually, sorry, she's a virtual guest. And then of course the people complaining and so on. But honestly, that wasn't the part that I was upset by. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, mainly for a travel perspective, for a
Mhm.
Japanese guest. But then they posted more things about if you have a question for her, leave it in the comments below, and then I'll pick from those. And they haven't said this yet, but I'm 99% sure that means that they're gonna be recorded. And I'm like, why are they gonna do this? And
Hey,
if I know Aoni, because Aoni is very big with like they had to approve. So not to say this is wrong, but they had to approve a lot of things that we posted about the interviews we did. That I'm pretty sure they're gonna want it pre-recorded so they could like make sure everything's like every little button's like pressed or whatever. What you
yeah,
say, JD?
I'd also prevent people from like asking inappropriate questions and things just getting really awkward,
Mhm.
or
Oh,
like
yeah.
some weird thing happened, like that thing at the Italian Senate. They
What
had
happened with the
pre-recorded that meeting.
The fucking Tifa porn.
Shh. Manuel, this is the wrong podcast for that.
Tifa porn. Everyone go Google Tifa. It's funny because sorry, this is a really fast
Yeah,
aside.
Manuel, you got a minute, then we're moving on.
Actually, I forgot what I was gonna say. Tifa porn. Anyways, but yeah, Aoi Yuki is gonna be there, and it's really got me thinking about all this and about how I don't like the idea of pre-recorded panels. Also, I didn't finish my thought earlier. But like I was saying, is there's a couple events that are coming up that have a lot of online guests, and in my head, I'm like, all you need is for the hotel or the convention center to have shitty Wi-Fi, which honestly is a very real possibility, and all your plans go out the toilet. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yes, I think you're
oof,
mixing up a couple current or phrases in there, but yes, I get what you
out
mean.
the toilet. Yes.
Yeah,
Out the toilet. They get flushed down the toilet.
there we go.
They go out the door. I know
Okay,
it's got like
Manuel.
3 different. But anyways, it just bothers me that's the thing. I didn't realize we were talking about this so long. I tell you, tonight's been a kind of good on night. Like Nyaru's been arguing with me, and I've learned that I'm an asshole many times over.
I know. I thought you already knew this.
Thought you already knew this.
Manuel never thinks about accessibility. What's the word? I'm an ableist. That's what you know.
Yeah, you're just ableist.
Manuel, we know you only think about yourself.
I mean
You're-
that is pretty true. I'm also just an asshole. I'm a selfish asshole. Anyway, um, our panel should be. This is random. There's other things to talk about, but I want to point out that Fanime. Speaking of Fanime, they so far have approved our 2D idol panel, which is funny that that's the first one they've only approved so far. But that's the panel. It's brand new. We're going to talk about the top idol anime. And
I'm so sorry.
yes, I've been watching a ton of anime for it, and I started watching Cream Lemon. I'm sorry, it is Cream. It's part of the Cream Lemon series. Cream Lemon, I think, is the hentai series, but I've been watching Lemon Angel, and Lemon Angel is the spin-off series that involves the idol group that was created from the Cream Lemon series. Or are you familiar with Lemon Angel?
I'm not actually.
So it's this anime that and it's one of the earliest idol anime that you could really track down besides like Macross or like that Pink Lady show from the 70s and so on. So I had to watch it. I'm like,
Pink
I need to
Lady
see if
and
this is
Jeff,
worth
or
recommending. No, there was a Pink Lady anime, like, you know, really
okay.
like, but anyways, so I was watching this anime because I'm like, this is really early on, and it's not really about them. It just stars each episode. It's like a 5-minute show. Each episode stars one of the members of the real life, you know, idol group, and like their love adventures. And each one has a song by the group. They're music videos. I guess they're music videos. But one of the first episode, first of all of them have nudity. And the first episode song is a song called Twilight Lolita. And it has
Oh
the chorus.
god.
Yes, and it has the chorus that's like lonely, 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 lolly. And I was all like, anime was a mistake. Anime was a mistake. TLDR, I'm going to tell that story in some form at the idol panel. I just want to mention that now. Don't watch Lemon Angel if you want to get into idol anime. We just then I started watching Love Live, and that was so different. I've seen Love Live before, but I started watching Love Live again the first season, and it's just night and day. Anyway, but yeah, um, Twilight Lolita. Go Google that song one day when I'll link it somewhere. It's worth listening just for the absurdity of the song. And it's funny because that song too, every other song in the show fucking slaps. It's like perfect 80s city pop idol music. It's like so like in vogue right now, but then that song just like cringe. Anyways, JD's probably like, Manuel, please move on.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please move on.
We've got
I
like
just had
10 minutes left, so pick a topic we can go over quickly.
Oh, Crunchyroll's doing away with simulcast, free simulcast.
Okay.
I hate it.
It's funny. I don't have this in my notes, but I remember this Sentai at the same time. So I'm pretty sure this is all a big news thing. Like it was probably all this. There's probably contracts shady behind the scenes. Sentai removed most. I don't think it's all of it yet. It's probably still some of it that's contracted, but they removed most of their anime from Crunchyroll. Which I don't think was a whole lot. It's just a few key series I, whatever the fuck.
Series.
But Crunchyroll is getting rid of free simulcast. Correct, JD? Did you get on my case about
it used to be that they would simulcast something. You could watch it the first week if you had a subscription, and then the next week it would be available free. They're not doing that anymore, but there will still be thousands of hours of free content available on the site with ads.
Two things. One, I will admit that part, and by the way, I should have clarified this earlier too in the chat. I probably should even have got the exact wording. We get Crunchyroll's PR thingies too because, you know, we went to Crunchyroll Expo and so on as press. So we get their PR stuff. And I read the PR notice, and I will admit that I don't think it was so much clickbait. Crunchyroll might have rolled back on their own decision after it was announced, because the way they worded it sounded weird. Or I could definitely see the confusion. Like, I don't think it was as clickbaity as JD probably thinks.
Well,
But
it
yeah.
was less of that one, and it was more like Crunchyroll canceling all ad-supported viewing that, like, and not
Well,
even changing it
That's
after
how
the
that's how
update.
it was worded. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I get the slight feeling that maybe they worded it weirdly so that people would run with that headline and they can gauge the reaction. That's my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because I swear to fucking hell that it's not really in Sony's nature to give away like any product for free, like the way they currently are. I know it's ad supported, but let's be real here. We all have ad blockers. But yeah, I'd be basically. I think everyone's free anime days are numbered. Are you gonna go turn to piracy, Nyaru? Are you gonna become a pirate?
Uh, I recently got a Funimation subscription thanks to someone sharing it with me, and
Oh.
even then, I really don't like any anime service that I've come across. I have not liked a single one. Mostly because shitty apps
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say that.
connectivity.
yeah,
And it's like none
yeah,
of this is gonna improve on that. None of this will actually improve anything. I think
yeah.
it's just gonna make it worse.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
funny because I've gotten a lot more obscure streaming services, and that's not really on topic per se. But I will say it taught me that unless you're a Netflix or unless you're like even Disney Plus is weird for me on my fucking Kindle. Not terrible, but it's weird. Most other apps are like weirdly not intuitive. Amazon's not that bad, but like other ones are just
well,
weird. And I'm just like, how are all these people getting it wrong? Blows
well,
my mind. There's
for
like billions of
Nyaru,
dollars behind these companies.
I think you're talking about on your smart TV, right?
Yeah, smart TV and Android.
Yeah. Well, so
Well,
for
smart
smart
TVs I know
TVs,
have bad.
it's because they have bad, cheap processors in them. Differences in Android operating versions, which would hopefully get better as Google TV and other standardized OSs become more popular.
So
I
you're
don't know.
telling
I'm
you're
just
telling
pissed off
Yara she
at
has a
it.
shitty
Yeah,
TV.
or just buy a $20 Fire Stick and it should work.
We're not buying more
Nah.
shit.
Yeah,
I'll
We're gonna
send
I don't
one
want to
to you
buy
if you
more.
give me
The
your
thing is, that's
address.
what I don't want to
we're
buy
gonna
more
pirate.
stuff.
We're gonna pirate
I
everything
look,
like the good
Nyaru,
old
give me your
days.
address and I will send one to you.
You have a fire.
No, I'm fine. I actually want to say I really want them to just improve on their apps. That's all I want.
Yeah, I'm not
And
gonna. Like
I
I
don't
said,
think giving in and purchasing, a Fire Stick or anything is gonna, send that message
the
Yes,
where,
but
iron.
they should
there
really
are,
be.
Nyaru, imagine that there are maybe thousands of possible combinations that they have to make everything work on,
The irony, the
and
irony
that's
of
the
you
issue.
talking about the Fire Stick, and I know it's different architecture, but I do almost all my streaming on a Kindle, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also a Fire product. It's Kindle Fire, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Obviously, I don't think the other Kindles let you view anything, but it's a Kindle Fire, and it also has problems. So it just blows my mind that apparently one Amazon device would be better than the other.
How old is your Kindle Fire?
It's HD 9, which to be fair is not the 10, which is the current, but it's also not old.
Oh, weird. I thought.
Yeah, because I do think like I have a friend of mine who has a Kindle Fire 6, and I'm like, it's so thick. Well, it's not okay. It's not like stupid thick, but it's like it's not
It's
dummy
not
thick.
dummy thick.
It's not dummy, but it's noticeably thicker than any modern tablet would be. And I'm just like, oh shit, what is this from 19 But anyways. It was the style at the time. Yeah, TLDR, everyone start pirating everything, become friends with go get yourself a VPN and okay, I probably shouldn't suggest this either.
Yeah, Manuel, cut this out of the recording, please. See, this is why we
I,
record it and don't just broadcast live to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit that it is odd that a company that literally started as a pirate site is not only the biggest anime distributor, like I think in the world, not even just in the US anymore, in the world, and they control all the legal streaming. Well, they control a vast majority of the legal streaming of anime.
Probably plurality, but yeah,
It's crazy.
a large amount.
Also, Crunchyroll announced the dates for Crunchyroll Expo, and I'm not joking. It's August 5th through 7th, and my birthday, for those who don't know, give me a present, is on August 8th. And I was on the fence about going for my birthday. I mean, going to Crunchyroll Expo this year. I didn't go in 2019, which is the last year it happened. But I think I'm gonna go because it's on my birthday, basically.
Hey, that's why
I
I'm
can't
going
wait.
to AX. So
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna go to that. Also, they're opening a Crunchyroll Expo in Australia in September.
Oh yeah, I
So
heard about that one.
yeah, our homies at Treasure Box, actually they rebranded. They're called TBP News now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember any. I'll Google it and I'll post what their name is up there. The the, the
can you
outlet
just ask
formerly
the
known
Pleiades?
as yeah, exactly. The outlet formerly known as Treasure Box Press. Um, tweeted about it, and I think that they might be involved with it somehow because the scene in like Australia is obviously smaller than it is here, and I think the person in charge is a friend of mine named oh shit, I can't even remember her name now. Anyway, there's a friend of
I
mine in
gotta go
Australia.
potty.
Tila.
I'll be right back.
Okay,
Yeah, we're wrapping up,
and
and
oh well, let her
yeah, we
come
still got to
back.
talk more Crunchyroll stuff. I know.
But yeah, and they announced that, and I think that they're going to be involved, and definitely there's some friends of mine involved with bringing guests. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Um, real fast. Did you see that Daiso raised its prices?
No, I believe I heard it from you, but I haven't.
Now I won't mention who. Everyone go out there and gas. I don't want to dox anyone. A certain friend of the channel is actually a Daiso district manager, and so like we actually did a panel at ALA 2020, and we needed prizes. We were gonna do it for 2020 this year, 2022, but then we thought giving out prizes would have been weird during the height of Omicron, so we didn't. But in 2020, we gave out prizes for one of our panels, and it was all Daiso stuff because I just asked her, "Can you bring whatever the fuck you're gonna throw away?" Like like stores do this all the time, by the way. But like whatever you're gonna throw away, just bring it. And she did. But anyways, well, I probably shouldn't have said the she part. Anyway, it's a friend of mine, and she was telling about it long before it happened. What blows my mind about this is two things. One, they're raising it only to 175. You would think now would be a time to just drop it at $2. Don't you think, JD? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, but I feel like that price change is very long overdue.
Yeah.
They've been 150 for a very long time since they
Oh,
opened.
okay. Sorry, I didn't know it was 150. I thought it was $1.
So, for the record, they've always been 100 yen store, but in Japan, but they've been when they used to license to another company in SoCal and they were 125. But when Daiso started branding themselves in the US, they moved it up to 150, and they've been 150 for at least 10 years now. And what's interesting about Daiso, this probably isn't a good thing, but I think one of the ways they kept the prices down is through shrinkflation. Because I remember the stuff you used to be able to get in the store before was always like better quality, or like they sell this Tupperware that would like lock that I still have. And they still sell that Tupperware branded now, but now it doesn't lock anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And they would sell like packages of things that were bigger and now they're just smaller, like shit like that.
But Manuel, is it the famous Dead Sea Tupperware?
What's Dead Sea Tupperware?
It's a gag from the opening of Aladdin when Robin
Oh,
Williams is playing
yeah.
the merchant and he's just going through his stuff. It's the famous Dead Sea Tupperware.
And he opens it, doesn't he?
Hear that?
Daiso.
Still fresh.
It's 175 now. But what I found interesting is not only is the price, like I was telling JD right now, I think the price is already like it's a good price change. I think it's a little overdue. But I know who that person is. Yeah, you
Well,
do know
yes,
who
you
that
do.
person is, Weston. It's Weston. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Weston. But what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah. But I was surprised because when she was showing me the news, I mean she didn't, it's like I've known about this for a year. But she showed it to me like the day or two before it was gonna happen. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna start changing our prices soon." And then the tweet happened. And I think she was expecting it too. I was like, "Oh shit, everyone's gonna be posting about this." I have not seen one person mention it. Like besides me. I have not heard anyone else mention it. Even though there have been like likes and retweets and shares on Facebook and everything. And the poor social media person, whoever runs the social media, even tweeted like their exact words, and also posted on Facebook. It's like, don't blame me if you have any questions or comments, concerns. Please email, support@daiso.com, where the fuck it was. But no, everyone seems to not be upset. And honestly, please don't be upset or be upset at the right people. Don't go there all upset.
But Manuel, my box curry cost me 25 cents more now.
No, that's the other thing. I'm pretty sure if you went to most stores and got a ramen, like a market, I should say, if you went to a Japanese or an Asian market, you probably won't find a ramen anyplace else. I know for a fact, like Mitsuwa, Marukai, I don't know if you even know these brands, if they're local to you guys too, but these brands would sell like a ramen, for example, would be like $1.79 or even $2. So I'm like, yeah, Daiso probably should have been raising his prices a while ago. So it is what it is. I'm not too upset by it. But yeah, it's another quarter. Just fucking maybe just either spend the extra quarter or just don't get the Pocky today, guys. Don't get the Pocky.
Don't get the hockey.
But real funny story is I won't mention her obviously, but the DM friend was telling me that like the day they were changing the prices, that somebody walked in and like whispered to her, it's like, is today the day the price changes? She's like, yeah, it's 175 now. And the person was like, oh, okay. And they just walked out. And I was like, why did they whisper it? Were they scared that they would start a Karen moment? But like they didn't want, they were just, they couldn't afford it anymore, I guess, but they weren't going to be a Karen, which is everyone's response. Keep shopping there if you can. If you can't afford it, just like I said, you just don't need the Pocky, hopefully. Last thing we'll talk before we wrap up is that, did you see this? Nyaru Suzuki Iries dating the soccer player dude.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she's dating a
Kind of
soccer
based.
Tanaka Ao, and it's funny because I thought it was all nice and positive, the comments I was seeing for a while. And I do think, and I'm not trying to like throw the two fandoms against each other, but I do think in most Western fandoms, because mind you, I first read about it in the Spanish speaking Irie fandom, so I had to like translate everything, but they were still positive, and the English was still positive. But then if you look at J Twitter, ooh, people are upset. And it's like, oh god, this is still a thing. She's not even an idol anymore. Like in like in terms of like her marketing, I'm just like, guys, come on. It's like people have a right to lives. That's my hot take. And that was just my hot take real fast. That I was gonna say that, like, look, the Western fan was being good for once. And I forgot who the fuck did it. Somebody was tweeting about it a couple weeks ago to remind me of this because this just happened a few days ago. Somebody's all like, "Oh, there's another idol dating story. Wait for all like the reactionists is to like bring out Perfect Blue and the what Michan's shaved head."
I know. I feel
Tired.
like I gotta see that every other month.
And I'm not gonna lie, the whole idol, and I meant to put this earlier, the things I wanted to mention it too. Whenever people like bring up how anime's quote unquote like it's for adults too, Perfect Blue's almost always one of the things they'll list. And that anime movie, by the way, it's amazing by Satoshi Kon. It's great. Go watch it. It's been soured by me though. It's Satoshi Kon, right?
Yeah, it's Kon.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I think all of his movies this isn't in the news, but I think all of his movies are going to be free to watch on YouTube soon. Like Millennium Actors has been free on and off for like years, but I think all his other three are going to be free. I think only for a while, but still go watch them. But anyway, Perfect Blue's been ruined by reaction channels because they always, whenever an idol scandal happens, whenever someone discovers, the Michan thing or whatever, they're like, "Have you seen Perfect Blue? This is what anime culture is really like." And it's just like, yeah, exactly. It's funny because I used to kind of do that, but from a more idol educated lens, but they don't know it, so I'm just like, fuck it. We can't have good things.
It's whatever gets the most clicks.
Exactly.
Sensationalism always wins at the end of the day.
One mic, and I'm gonna post a screenshot. Don't post a screenshot of me. I'm Manuel the doxer. I forget who I doxed recently on accident. I'm gonna dox everyone.
I'm gonna dox you.
Nyaru is real. I'm just kidding. I need to stop myself early because my dumb asshole will just say it for real. Even though I didn't mean to. Nyaru, what's new with you? Let's wrap this show up.
Nothing much, just getting ready for April. Tomorrow is my first ever cooking stream. And is sponsored by HelloFresh. So if you guys want to come grab a box of HelloFresh and help me rebuild all of my funds that I lost, feel free to come by and yeah, we'll have fun. We're gonna be cooking pork tenderloin with Yoshi.
He wants his peanut butter.
Oh, Yoshi's gonna be cooking too?
You're gonna cook your dog?
No, you'll be
No,
cooking
he
as
just
well.
came in here with like with like one of the insoles from my, or I think my shoe. I'm not too sure anymore. He's under
man.
my couch right now.
Pork
He's running
tenderloin.
around. But yeah, pork
He's so
tenderloin with mashed potatoes and green beans. So I am very excited for that.
green beans. It sounds
I
good.
had green beans today, actually.
I think I've
I
made
I
that one
haven't-
before.
I haven't had green beans in like literally like 5 or 6 years. Actually, no. For the record, I'm not like anti-veg, but I love green beans. I fucking love green beans. It just that's not. I've never ordered a meal with them. I think in 5 or 6 years, and for some reason, I don't think I've ever made them at home. Even though I'm pretty sure I can go buy a frozen bag for like a couple dollars, just like you know, boil it or whatever the fuck you do with green beans. How do you cook a green bean?
You know what I do actually? I just put them in the oven with like some salt
Yeah.
and pepper and oil,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and they come out so crunchy and good.
Everyone, I'm gonna go. Everyone, go sub to. Let me go sub. Go get your HelloFresh boxes. It's code POG. It's not actually like a complicated code. But it's like POG something.
I can drop it in chat here in a bit. But yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
do have a code, and if you guys use it, you get 6 free meals and some other little gifts included as well. And like I said, for every sign up that I get $100 out of it. So if you really want to support me, you can get a box as low as, I think it was like $25 if you just get like 2 meals a week. So at that low price, yeah, you can help me out if you guys like. So here is the link and everything. And feel free to retweet it or share it with someone that maybe you guys would enjoy it.
There
There you go.
I'll have that in the description also of this edited episode on YouTube because Manuel can't keep his mouth shut. It's just some bullshit sometimes. Yeah, that's all the news right there. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing more Elden Ring. Warren is in SoCal right now because he's going to WonderCon this upcoming weekend. So he's in SoCal. So tune into that. It'll be interesting. Maybe Leslie will show up during the stream randomly. But Snacks won't be there is what I'm getting at. Because he told us last week he couldn't show up. But we've been doing a lot of good Elden Ring gameplay recently. Like I said, like I think because we're playing a new in-game. Everything's pretty live. Let's check that out. Also, this Saturday is episode 66 of DTL. Hal will be on, and I think Molly will be on, but there won't be no Warren, and there won't be no anyone else. Is the four of us, and I'm not sure who else will be on besides myself and Pleiades. But in 2 weeks from this week, I've already confirmed that we're gonna have Sylvia on, Peachy Parade Sylvia. So after literally months of trying to get any of the Peachy Pretty girls down for DTL, I got one of them. And it'll probably be the only time because we're ending on episode 69. Oops. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. Sub to everything. Shout out to Ed and Kenneth, the current Patreons, patreon.com/ADJ Connections. Like, comment, subscribe, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
Yay.
Love you all. Go join HelloFresh or whatever. You get to green bends. I want some green bends. Peace.
I like green bin. Bye bye.